Welcome to the 2015 Ironman Asia Pacific Championships Melbourne. This is the 4th annual delivery of this event. On behalf of Ironman, congratulations on making it this far. The following information is provided to prepare you for the event. This is a shortened and race-specific briefing prepared by the race director. Additional and more detailed information is available online via the Athlete Information Guide. It's also highly recommended that all athletes attend the Ironman Athlete Welcome Function this Friday night to obtain the race director's update. This update will include any last-minute information or changes. It is in the best interest for all athletes to attend so that they are up to date with current plans. A complete event schedule is available at the information tent online and is posted around the event precincts. It is highly recommended that you familiarise yourself with the following key times across the event. These include athlete check-in on Thursday and Friday at St Kilda, the Saturday morning practice swim at Frankston, and the transition opening times across the weekend. Most importantly, make sure you're aware of the Sunday race start time. You will receive all the items you require for racing within your athlete kit once checked in. These items are listed here and within the Athlete Information Guide. During check-in, you'll also receive your Athlete ID wristband and timing chip. These are two of your most important items. Your Athlete ID wristband will provide you access into all athlete-only areas. You should wear this as soon as you check in for the duration of the event. Your timing chip is not required to be worn until entering transition on race morning. Please set yourself a reminder to put this on your left ankle. Ironman will endeavour to check as you enter transition. If you do not have a timing chip, Ironman will not be able to provide you a race time or validate your finish. Ironman Melbourne is unique with its point-to-point run, creating two separate venues for the event. Plan ahead and look into purchasing event shuttle bus tickets and booking bike transfers between St Kilda and Frankston. This will take out the stress of getting yourself and your bike around the event. Please note, athletes' bikes will not be allowed on the event shuttle buses. There are many options for bike transfers. However, don't forget Ironman will transport all athlete bikes back to St Kilda post-race free of charge, making them available for collection on Monday morning from 8 a.m. Should you require further information, bookings or alternate arrangements to this, please visit the information tents. Please note deadlines do apply to some services. Transition is located at Frankston, just under an hour's drive from St Kilda. It is compulsory all athletes rack their bikes and drop off their blue bike bag, helmet and red run bags during bike check-in on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Upon checking in, technical officials will visually inspect athletes' bikes and helmets for safety. If you do not pass this inspection, you'll be directed to go and see the Shimano bike mechanics located outside transition. Once inside transition, your bike will be scanned by Ironman and photographed by Finishers Picks. Athletes will then need to rack their bike at their individually numbered bike rack and hang their blue bike bag with helmet inside on the bag hooks within the transition change tent. It is optional whether athletes choose to leave their bike shoes in their blue bike bag or at their bike. Athletes' red run bags will need to be placed inside the large numbered bins inside the transition change tent. Volunteers will then re-hang these bags once athletes are finished in T1 in preparation for T2. Please be aware both the blue bike and red run bag will not be accessible once transition closes at 3 p.m. until during the race. Please take extra care making sure you've packed appropriately. Athletes should also be aware that bike covers are not allowed during overnight racking as they create safety issues in the event of high winds. Your belongings will be monitored overnight by event security. Athletes are welcome to roam around transition to familiarise themselves during transition opening hours. During this time, Ironman will also run complimentary transition tours every half past the hour from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. These tours will be run by an Ironman staff member, providing specific details on the flow of transition. This is a great opportunity for any questions athletes may have. Volunteers and technical officials will also be available throughout the duration of transition for any questions. Transition is open again pre-race on Sunday morning from 5:30 a.m. to 7:10 a.m. sharp. This is the last opportunity for athletes to come and prepare their bikes for racing. Volunteers, technical officials, bike mechanics and Tour de Cure bike pump angels will be available in transition for your assistance. Under no circumstances is anything to be left at the base of your bike. Technical officials will be checking once transition is closed for such items. Please remember you will not have access to your blue bike or red run bags during this time. Unfortunately, no exceptions will be made. After leaving transition, athletes can drop off their bike pumps and black street gear bags containing any personal items to the marked street gear vehicles outside. These will be transported back to Catani Gardens, St Kilda and be available within recovery once you cross the finish line. Additionally, the plastic blue bike and red run special needs bags provided in your athlete kit can be dropped off at the marked special needs vehicles outside transition. Remember to attach your athlete number sticker to each bag in an easily identifiable place. IRONMAN will provide volunteers to assist. However, please note it is the athlete's responsibility to drop off the correct bags at the correct vehicles during this specified period. These services will close at 7:10 a.m. with transition. Once athletes have exited transition, they'll need to head to the beach for swim start. All age group athletes are required to access the beach via the car park behind Sophia's restaurant. This will lead to a network of boardwalks down to the beach. Each boardwalk route leads to a different swim start zone. There are directional signs and volunteers through the car park and at each boardwalk entry to make sure you head down your preferred. Please ask if unsure. Please note there will be no access to the beach via the pier for any athletes, bar professionals with black wristbands. It's also critical no athletes climb over the sand dunes to access the beach, as this can be damaging to the environment. Any athletes found climbing over the sand dunes will be at risk of disqualification. The beach will be divided into 4 swim start zones for age groupers. Age groupers are able to self-seed themselves based on their own predicted swim time. The swim start zones are as follows. Zone 1 is for all swimmers with predicted swim times under 1 hour. Zone 2 is for all swimmers with predicted swim times between 1 hour and 1 hour 7 minutes. Zone 3 is for those swimming 1 hour 8 minutes and 1 hour 20 minutes. The final zone, Zone 4, is for those athletes swimming over 1 hour and 21 minutes. The start zones will be spaced across the beach, with Zone 1 located directly behind the professional athletes and start line. Only Start Zone 1 will have a fenced perimeter in order to organise and funnel athletes towards the start line. All other start zones will have signage for athletes to line up behind. There'll be volunteers and staff within all zones for athlete assistance. Should athletes wish to warm up in the water prior to the start, they're asked to do so beyond Start Zone 1. This is for safety reasons and to keep athletes away from the heavy vessel traffic in front of the start line. Water safety will be allocated to watch over the warm-up area. The race director will signal to all athletes when they need to get out of the water and be ready in their start zones. This will be communicated via commentary and the volunteers. Please listen and obey their requests in order for the event to progress on schedule. Once pre-race formalities are finished, professional athletes will be let off at 7:20 a.m. and 7:23 a.m. via separate male and female beach starts. Age group athletes will start at 7:40 a.m. via a rolling start. This will involve corralling and progressively releasing small groups of athletes to the start line underneath the large inflatable arch. This will be repeated every 3 to 5 seconds until all start zones from 1 to 4 have crossed the start line and timing mat. Please note this is a very simple system and there is no need to rush. As an athlete gets closer to the start line, volunteers will instruct them. An athlete's time does not start until they have crossed the timing point under the start line. The start line will be clearly marked on the beach. The swim is a 3.8 kilometre one-lap course undertaken in a clockwise direction. It can be described as a T-shaped course. There are 6 large fluoro pink turning buoys across the course that are numbered from 1 to 6. Please note that all turning buoys except number 3 and 5 are to be kept on the right-hand side of athletes as they turn. Buoy number 3 and 5 are the only buoys that are kept on the left. These are both located closest to the pier at approximately 1,500 metres and 3,600 metres into the swim. Additional small fluoro orange buoys will be positioned along the course to assist athletes swimming between large pink turning buoys. These are purely for line of sight. Athletes will start on the southern side of the pier and head out 850 metres before making their first and second turn approximately 100 metres apart and heading back towards the pier in an easterly direction. Just prior to reaching the pier, athletes will see buoy number 3. Athletes will keep this buoy on their left as previously instructed and then head north parallel to the beach towards turn buoys 4 and 5. After reaching turn buoys 4 and 5, athletes will return south towards the pier and their final turn at buoy number 6. This buoy is once again to be kept on the athlete's left. From this point, it's approximately a 200-metre swim parallel to the pier into swim exit. Swim exit will be marked with large flags. A large contingent of water safety will be on the water at all times for your safety. Water safety personnel will be identifiable via their traditional yellow and red uniforms. Should you need assistance at any time during the swim, please raise one arm into the air and they'll come to your aid. In the unlikely event of a swim evacuation, water safety will blow whistles continuously. At this point in time, athletes are to stop swimming immediately and seek direction from their nearest water safety personnel. In the event of evacuation, athletes will head into transition and await further instruction from the race director. It is paramount during this time that athletes follow event personnel instructions and cross the swim exit timing mat for athlete reconciliation purposes. The provisional water temperature will be announced at the Friday race director update as part of the athlete welcome function. Additional water temperatures will be posted at information tents across the weekend. The final ruling on wet seats will be announced on race morning within transition. For additional swim course rules and regulations, please review the relevant section of the Athlete Information Guide available online. It is an athlete's responsibility to be familiar with these. If you decide to withdraw at any time, you must notify an event official so we can account for your safety. It is then compulsory to return your timing chip to the dropout clerk located at the information tent. The time limit for the swim leg is 2 hours 20 minutes after an athlete's individual start time. Any athlete who has not completed the course by this cut-off time will not be able to continue. Please note there are additional cut-off times for this leg of the course listed within the Athlete Information Guide available online. The race director also reserves the right to enforce a cut-off at any time. Upon exiting the water, athletes will take a long run into transition, passing through the showers and the Transition 1 aid station before entering the transition change tent. Please do not fully remove your swim attire until you are inside the change rooms. Once inside the tent, athletes will need to find their blue bike bag. This will be on the bag hooks where they left it during bike check-in. They will then take their bag and enter the change rooms. There is a separate change room for males and females. There will be volunteers inside the change rooms to assist you as you require. Please help the volunteers help you by communicating clearly and politely. They can assist with unpacking bags, changing clothes, putting on shoes and socks, application of sunscreen, and repacking bags. Once athletes have completed their change, they must repack their bags with their discarded swim attire and excess gear and take them outside to the awaiting volunteers, who will sort them and arrange for transport back to Catani Gardens, St Kilda. Athletes will then turn right and progress through the bike racks, grab their bike and push it to the mount line. Once athletes have passed the mount line, they'll be able to get onto their bike and commence the bike course. The mount line will be clearly identifiable via the large inflatable arch. The bike course will be a clockwise 90-kilometre 2-lap course along the Eastlink motorway. The course will use roadways between transition located at Frankston Waterfront and the Springvale Road off-ramp on Eastlink. The course will be marked with volunteers, fencing and directional arrows for your convenience. It will also have kilometre markers every 30 kilometres. IRONMAN staff have marked the first 3 kilometres of the bike course with blue tape arrows for athletes' familiarisation purposes. The bike course begins by athletes running their bikes to the mount line, located outside transition underneath the inflatable arch on the Nepean Highway. Athletes then mount their bike beyond the mount line and continue along the Nepean Highway, turning right into Plain Street, left into Fletcher Road and continue on to Dandenong Road East before turning left onto a slight uphill leading onto Frankston Freeway northbound. Athletes begin the journey north along Frankston Freeway leading onto Eastlink southbound lanes for 40 kilometres, which will take them through the Mullumm Tunnel at Ringwood and into the turnaround point at Springvale Road off-ramp. Riders will then turn southbound and head back along the same route they just travelled, making a second lap U-turn at the Thompson Street roundabout on Plain Street in the heart of Frankston. From here, athletes will repeat the course just prescribed. On completion of their second lap, athletes will continue through the Thompson and Plain Street roundabout, turn left onto Nepean Highway and dismount their bikes outside transition under the repositioned inflatable arch, passing their bike to volunteers and continuing back into the athlete change tent in preparation for transition 2. The bike course has extremely good road surfaces for riding. However, there are some expansion joints on certain parts of the course which will be covered with rubber matting. Riders should maintain a constant speed and keep their bike straight on approach to these expansion joints to avoid discomfort. The Mullumm Tunnel on Eastlink and the second lap finish point at the intersection of Plain and Thompson Street both provide steep and technical downhills. Please take care on these descents. Last of all, there will be vehicle traffic on some parts of the bike course. Please take extra care should you encounter a vehicle. These vehicles are there to service the race or are requiring local access to their desired destination. Please be sure to take extra caution through these identified areas. The bike course has 3 aid stations on lap 1 and 4 aid stations on lap 2, located approximately 20 kilometres apart. The locations of the aid stations and products on offer are listed here. The Special Needs Station is available outbound at Bike Aid Station 4, Seaford Road, on re-entry to Eastlink. It is at approximately 93 kilometres into the bike course. Aid station products will be available in the following order, similar to a pyramid. Volunteers will endeavour to provide 50+ metres between each table of products. Signs will be positioned to identify what is on offer as athletes progress through the station. These include litter zone start and litter zone finish signs, which define the legal rubbish and bed and discard zone. Outside of this zone, athletes will be penalised for littering. Aid stations are the only place on course discarding is allowed. To access aid station products or special needs bags, athletes will need to loudly and clearly communicate to volunteers. Please remember, volunteers are there to support you, not serve you. Please move slowly through these areas, and if needing to stop, pull over and off the road, taking in your surrounding before doing so, both on exiting and re-entering the course. At aid stations, athletes should call out the product they require prior to reaching that product's handover area, while special needs athletes must call out their athlete number to the volunteer pre the special needs station. This special needs volunteer will be behind a special needs sign for easy identification and will radio forward to the special needs tent so that they can have the bag ready by the time the athlete gets there. Please be focused and considerate at all times through both these areas. The safety of yourself, other athletes and volunteers should be your priority. Our volunteers will do their best to deliver what you require, but it is your responsibility to slow down and ensure you have the correct nutrition and bags. During the race, Shimano bike mechanics will be circulating the bike course and will provide basic tools and spares, enabling athletes to conduct their own repairs. Please remember, mechanics are unable to carry out any repairs on athletes' behalf as it is against the rules. You can request a bike mechanic via visiting an aid station or waving down an event vehicle. They will radio in your position, so please do not move once your request has been transmitted, otherwise the mechanics may struggle to locate your position. Due to the distance to be covered, delays should be expected when requesting a bike mechanic. They will endeavour to get to an athlete as soon as possible. However, we apologise for any delays. The bike course rules and regulations are available within the Athlete Information Guide available online. It is an athlete's responsibility to be familiar with these. Should you be issued a penalty on the bike course, you must report to the next available penalty box on the bike course. There are 2 penalty boxes on this year's course. The first is located inbound on Eastlink, post the northern turnaround at Springvale Road at approximately the 46 kilometre and 135 kilometre mark. The second penalty box is located inbound on Dandenong Road East at approximately the 88.5 kilometre and 177.5 kilometre marks prior to re-entering Fletcher Road. Each penalty box is easily identifiable by a red tent and signage. If you decide to withdraw at any time, you must notify an event official so we can account for your safety. It is then compulsory to return your timing chip to the dropout clock located at the information tents. The time limit for the bike leg is 10 hours 30 minutes after an athlete's individual start time. Any athlete who has not completed the course by this cutoff time will not be able to continue. Please note there are additional intermediate cutoff times for this leg of the course listed within the Athlete Information Guide available online. The race director also reserves the right to enforce a cutoff at any time. Upon finishing the bike leg and passing the bike to volunteers at the dismount line, athletes will re-enter the transition change tent. The volunteer who took your bike will place it back at your numbered rack for you, allowing you to prepare for the run. Once inside the tent, athletes will need to find their red run bag. This will be on the bag hooks, having been hung up in place of the blue bike bags whilst all athletes were on the bike. Athletes will then take their bag and enter the change rooms. There is a separate change room for males and females as per T1. There'll be volunteers inside the change rooms to assist you as you require. Please help the volunteers help you by communicating clearly and politely. They can assist with unpacking bags, changing clothes, putting on shoes and socks, application of sunscreen and repacking bags. Once athletes have completed their change, they must repack their bags with their discarded bike attire and excess gear and take them outside to the waiting volunteers who'll sort them and arrange for transport back to Kitani Gardens, St Kilda. Athletes will then turn left and progress out onto the run course, immediately running through the T2 aid station outside transition. The ASICS run course is a unique 42.2 km point-to-point route from the transition area at Frankston, ending at Kitani Gardens, St Kilda. The course will be marked with volunteers, fencing and directional arrows, with kilometre markers every 2k for your convenience. IRONMAN staff have marked the run course with red tape arrows for athletes' familiarisation purposes. After completing Transition 2, athletes will exit Transition and head south along the boardwalk towards Oliver's Hill Boat Ramp car park for approximately 800 metres. At this point, they'll turn around and retrace their steps along the boardwalk, back through Transition and out onto the Nepean Highway and the action of Plain Street, where both bikes and runners will be turning around. The runners will then U-turn back onto the Nepean Highway, turn left onto Wells Street adjacent to McDonald's and right down Cananook Creek Boulevard before hitting the off-road trail through and onto the bridge over Cananook Creek at Fiocchi Avenue. Runners will continue following the trail pathway until re-entering the Nepean Highway at Gould Street, at which point they'll begin the 15 kilometres of highway running through the beachside city of Kingston, suburbs of Seaford, Carrum, Bond Beach, Chelsea, Edithvale, Aspendale, and then off the road at Mordialloc at 19 kilometres into the run course. Once athletes head through the halfway and lively spectator viewing point at Peterscullen Reserve Mordialloc, they'll keep moving north along the coastal beachside pathway through Parkdale and Mentone before making a short climb to get out onto the shared public bike pedestrian pathway adjacent to Beach Road. From this point, athletes follow a direct route along the Port Phillip Bay coastline through the beautiful bayside city suburbs of Beaumaris, Blackrock, Sandringham and Hampton. Brighton serves as a marker for the last 10 kilometres of the race, which then leads into Elwood before heading for the grandstand finish at the palm tree-lined, heritage-listed Kitani Gardens in St Kilda. All athletes will realise the run course is a mixture of surfaces, including off-road trail. The IRONMAN staff will endeavour to mark all hazards on course with spray paints and hazard tape. Please keep your eyes open for any such presentations. There is a large section of the Nepean Highway that requires athletes to share the road with vehicles. Please take extra care in this section and remain inside the allocated area for runners. IRONMAN will have traffic control infrastructure in place to coordinate this area, which will be clearly identifiable. The route used for the point-to-point run is also a popular pedestrian and bike area for the general public. IRONMAN will endeavour to provide a clear course. However, should you encounter another pathway user, please use common sense in navigating around them. Safety for all is paramount. It is a legal requirement as part of the Victorian Road Management Act that athletes running after dark wear a high visibility sash and glow necklace. These will be issued from approximately 5:30 p.m. at Run Aid Station 2. It is compulsory for all athletes to wear these items for safety. Any athlete who does not abide may risk disqualification. The ASICS run course has 20 aid stations located approximately 2 kilometres apart. The locations of the aid stations and products on offer are listed here. The Special Needs Station is available at Run Aid Station 9, Peter Scullin Reserve, Mordialloc. It is approximately 18.5 kilometres into the run course. The aid station products will be available in the following order, similar to a pyramid. Volunteers will endeavour to provide 10 plus metres between each table of products. Signs will be positioned to identify what is on offer as athletes progress through the station. These include litter zone start and litter zone finish signs, which define the legal rubbish discard zone. Outside of this zone, athletes will be penalised for littering. Aid stations are the only place on course discarding is allowed. To access aid station products or special needs bags, athletes will need to loudly and clearly communicate to volunteers. Please remember, volunteers are there to support you, not serve you. Please move slowly through these areas, and if needing to stop, pull over and off the course, taking in your surrounding before doing so, both on exiting and re-entering the course. At aid stations, athletes should call out the product they require prior to reaching that product's handover area. Whilst its special needs athletes must call out their athlete number to the volunteer pre the special needs station. This special needs volunteer will be behind a special needs sign for easy identification and will radio forward to the special needs tent so that they can have the bag ready by the time the athlete gets there. Please be focused and considerate at all times through both these areas. The safety of yourself, other athletes and volunteers should be your priority. Our volunteers will do their best to deliver what you require, but it's your responsibility to slow down and ensure you have the correct nutrition and bags. The bike course rules and regulations are available within the Athlete Information Guide available online. It is an athlete's responsibility to be familiar with these. If you decide to withdraw at any time, you must notify an event official so we can account for your safety. It is then compulsory to return your timing chip to the dropout clerk located at the information tent. The time limit for the bike leg is 17 hours after an athlete's individual start time. Any athlete who has not completed the course by this cutoff time will not be able to continue. Please note there are additional intermediate cutoff times for this leg of the course listed within the Athlete Information Guide, available online. The race director also reserves the right to enforce a cutoff at any time. The SAG wagon will collect athletes who are unable to complete the event or unable to finish within the course cutoff time. Collected athletes will be transported to either Frankston or St Kilda, depending on their location. Should you require a SAG wagon at any time, please wave down an event official and they'll contact IRONMAN for SAG wagon deployment. Alternatively, advise volunteers at the nearest aid station. Please note, due to racing conditions, delays in SAG wagon transport are expected. Please do not move from your reported location once a SAG wagon has been called. This could affect their ability to locate you. Completing an Ironman is a special experience. Crossing the finish line is the pinnacle. Here's a hot tip: make yourself photo ready. In accordance with Ironman rules, family or friends, including children, are not permitted in the finish chute or finish area. Please make your loved ones aware of this rule, as you will be disqualified if this rule is not adhered to. The rule is enforced to reduce the risk of an athlete unintentionally harming themselves, other athletes, or their loved ones. It's also important to respect other finishers and their experience. Ironman hopes everybody makes the most of their time in the spotlight. Once you cross the finish line, there will be an array of services to start your recovery. Volunteers will be present to meet you and escort you through to the secured recovery area. They'll present you with your finisher's medal and towel and will remove your timing chip. Please do not exit the recovery area with your timing chip on. During this time, volunteers will briefly assess you and take you to medical if required. If you are comfortable, you'll be led to the recovery area, which will offer drinks, fruit, and a mixture of hot and cold food. There'll be a massage therapist available for a short complimentary massage, and your black street gear bag and finisher t-shirts will be available for collection. You'll need to show your race number and medal to collect your finisher's t-shirt. There is a change tent available should you require. An array of event staff and volunteers are available within the post-finish area. Please advise if you require assistance at any time. Safety is the most important deliverable at an Ironman, and an experienced medical team is key to this. Ironman will have medical personnel positioned at the swim start and exit, transition, roaming on the bike and run courses, as well as a full medical tent and team at the finish line. There will also be ambulances allocated to the event at all times. During the race, please ensure you look after yourself and your fellow athletes. If in doubt, ask for help from an event official or a volunteer on course. Please make sure you've provided the event staff at check-in with your most up-to-date medical and emergency contact information. The medical team can assist with rehydration, warming or cooling, and other basic care. Any athletes requiring further treatment will be transported to hospital. If you find yourself in this situation, your gear will be cared for until you return. Please inquire at the information tent when you return or phone IRONMAN directly. To help out the medical team, please make sure you are taking appropriate care of yourself. If you have an acute illness, modify your expectations and allow for a bad day. Above all, don't change what you've been doing. The race is conducted under the Triathlon Australia TA race competition rules and a number of special Ironman rules. It operates under the 3 strikes and you're out principle. Any and all infringements across the event count towards your 3 strikes. In other words, any combination of 3 rule infringements will result in disqualification. If you have been disqualified at any time during the event, this will be listed at the exit of recovery. Should you wish to discuss this matter, please head to the information tent and a member of the technical team will be contacted. Please note deadlines do apply for the overruling of a decision, so promptness is important. Please refer to the Athlete Information Guide on the event website for more information. You've endured or enjoyed months of training. You've just completed your 8-hour or 17-hour Ironman. Now what happens? The action continues on Monday with 2016 registrations open from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Athlete Check-In at Katani Gardens, St Kilda. During this time, bike and gear bag collection is also open until 2 p.m. in the bike compound at Katani Gardens. At 11 a.m, the 2015 Ironman World Championship roll-down ceremony offering 75 age group and 10 military division qualifying slots for the 2015 Ironman World Championship in Kailua Kona, Hawaii will start. Qualified athletes are required to claim their slots in person. Please make sure you have all the required information and remember, slots must be paid for at the ceremony. Last but not least, the Ironman Awards ceremony will start at 12 noon. At its completion, the Ironman official after party will start, located only a short walk away in St Kilda venues, Republica and Captain Baxter's from 1:30 p.m. Keep listening for all the details so you don't miss out on the action. On behalf of Ironman, congratulations once again for making it this far. We look forward to seeing you at the finish line.